Hello, welcome back to Mark's Garden UK. It's the 1st of October. It's damp, in fact it's positively wet, but I'm going to give you a final, effectively a year-end update on my UK tropical border which is behind me, and I'm going to share with you the reasons why I think this has done particularly well this year, because it's really surpassed itself this year. So I'll tell you why I think that's the case, and at the same time we'll have a look in a little bit more detail at some of the plants in my tropical border. I'm just going to move the chairs and table out the way so that we can get up close and personal. Now, the next thing I'll be doing with this is a bit of a tragedy really, because what I'll be doing next is completely cutting it down and putting all the green matter on the floor above the bed. Let me just move this table. Wonderful. Now that gives me a bit more space and a bit more room so I can show you what we've got in this border. Let's start off on my right. That is a Tetran Rex. In the winter time that disappeared to a twig about a foot tall. Look at it now. Massive plant. These are quite well known for being a little bit invasive, so you've got to be careful with them. It can become a tree, and you can see there this lovely trunk emerging from the ground, and around the base of that trunk I can see several little babies, so it's already propagating. And evidently all you really need to do to propagate the tetrapanax is shock it a little bit around the root by just digging around into the roots, and that will trigger this response where it just puts up pups. And that's evidenced here because there's the main plant, and down here in undergrowth over a metre away is a little baby tetrapanax, which if I wanted to I could dig up and sell. For now it's staying in situ. Whilst I'm down here, let's talk about this colocasia esculenta elephant's ear plant. I had about 36 of these, and last autumn I did exactly the right thing and it turned out to be exactly the wrong thing. The others I dug up and I repotted and I put them in a dry place, and I thought my garage was going to stay above zero, but unfortunately we had such a severe sharp frost last year it went down to about -6 and it killed them all. This one I left in the ground. I'm going to tell you what else I did in the autumn in this border in a minute, because I think it's made a difference. But this one I left in the ground. The colocasia esculenta is not supposed to be a hardy plant in the UK, but this one has proven to be hardy and it's survived. The reason I think it's survived is last autumn, and you can see this in a video, I'll put the link at the end of this one, I cut all this border down, I chopped all the vegetable matter up and dropped it on top, and then I went and got 7 loads of manure, barrel loads of manure from a neighbour's ponies. I put it on top and then I put weed fabric on top. So the esculenta that was left in the ground had a top dress of about 4 inches of manure, then it had some weed fabric on top, and I think that weed fabric caused most of the rain to run off. It didn't seem to mind being a little bit chilled, but because it was dry under there and possibly even warmed a little by the manure rotting down, it survived and done incredibly well, and I'm going to do exactly the same thing this year. It's staying in the ground and hopefully, fingers crossed, it will survive, and then next year we might get that to propagate itself. We've added a Fatsia japonica here, not really a tropical plant, but we've added that because it will stay evergreen and it will leave some structure in this border. Down here there's a lovely ginger plant which has flowered incredibly well, and again that's propagated. It's become 5 or 6 little plants. It's not your household ginger that you use in the kitchen and plant out. It's a different type of ginger, and the name escapes me right now, so I'll put the name of it in the description box below this video. Sometimes when you're talking your mind goes blank, but whilst the plant name is in my mind I'm going to tell you about it. Look at this. This is called a Persicaria. It's a lovely plant. It's got a slightly red leaf, like an arrow shape. Apparently it's related to Japanese knotweed, so be careful, make sure you get the right one. But that's done really well, it's filled a gap there. And then here we've got these cannas. Now traditionally you might think that cannas have a lovely big bloom on the top, and most of them do, but this one is called Musa Folia. And Folia gives away its habit. It's really known for its leaves. They're almost as big as the banana leaves you can see over my left shoulder. Musa Folia. That has been left in the ground as well, all last winter, underneath that deep mulch of manure underneath weed fabric. I don't think those are the only reasons these have done so well, and I'll tell you about a couple of other reasons. We're in a very sheltered corner here. There's a brick wall there, The cottage is just there behind the camera. I've put a bamboo screen hedge there, so we're sheltered away from the elements in the winter time here. There'll be an element of warmth coming from that wall because that's my neighbour's kitchen. And as insulated as it might be, it's got to give off a little bit of heat. And of course we're in the ground, and the ground below there will have some ground heat in it as well. So I think there's a combination of factors here which have helped these to survive. And probably because a lot of them now have got deep roots into the ground where frost will never get, especially in a corner like this. That's why they're doing so well. But nevertheless, as sad as it might seem, in a month or two, certainly within 2 months, that will be chopped down, chopped into small pieces, scattered. And that will feed next year's growth, which is like a virtuous cycle, isn't it? Down there, down here, we have colocasia pink China, which is a hardy colocasia. Again, you can see the leaf is very similar shape to the esculenta. Very similar shaped leaves. The esculenta got bigger leaves, but the pink China has this lovely pink stalk. I don't know if you can see that. Let me move that out of the way. I'll get a close up and show it to you. Lovely pink stalk to its leaves there, and lovely leaves. These are called glaucous leaves, and they're actually hydrophobic. Hydrophobic means that they repel water, so if you hold one up and let water gather on it, it forms like a little bead, like mercury. And that stops them from getting too wet and rotting away, because the natural environment is very damp. So they're hydrophobic, and they have these lovely pink stalks. And again, that's propagated. I can see, looking in, I can count 4 or 5 little pink Chinas there. And that's not uncommon in the UK. I think if you want to try a colocasia, start with a pink China because it's quite hardy. There's another canna here, and there's another ginger which is still in flower. That's Himalayan ginger. Can't remember what that's called, but I'll put the name below this video. That's Himalayan ginger. Again, started off as 1, is now 7. The reason being, I think, the top dress. We also keep this very wet in the summertime. It gets watered every day. At the back here, Musa baju. Now, if you've got Musa baju and you're worried about what to do with them in the winter, excuse me, I've got to cough. If you're worried about what to do with them in the winter, you can leave them in the ground. They are supposed to be UK hardy. I suppose there are extremes in the UK which may cause them to die, but these have been left in the ground. You can see how well they're doing. I'm 6 foot, that's got to be 9 foot. But what I will do in the autumn time, going into winter, is I will take some measures to protect them. I did a video on it last year. I'll be doing another video on it this year. But in a nutshell, cut most of the growth off, wrap the stalk. Some people call it a trunk. It's not a trunk, it's a pseudo trunk. It's made up of the leaves, so it's not really a stalk or a trunk as such. And I'll wrap that in insulation, and then I'll wrap it in weed fabric, and then I'll pile straw around the bottom, and that should keep that stalk intact. The benefit of doing that is next spring, when these start growing again, you've already got some height. You can chop them down to the ground if you want, but mine have done really well by not being chopped to the ground. Got a tree fern here. That's not really a tropical plant. It should really be in my fernery, which is over there to my right, but we ran out of space for tree ferns over there, and someone in this household is addicted to them and can't stop buying them, so this is an overflow area. Tree ferns, there's a tree fern. And that's it really, an update. I mean, obviously there's several different more types of cannas in there, but there's a sort of year-end update on my exotic tropical border, which I'm delighted with. just to recap, I think it's done really well because we left most of those plants in the winter. I covered them in about 6 inches of manure, then I put weed fabric on top, which caused it to run off. Sheltered position, kept it watered all year. I'll be doing exactly the same again this autumn. I'll be going getting a load of more muck from the neighbours' ponies, and over the winter and next summer, that just leaches its goodness down into the earth. That's not been fed this year, other than the manure that was put on top of it last autumn. I don't think there's much else to tell you about this border. There's another tetrapanax down there, so it's kind of mirrored. Wonderful. Hope you've enjoyed that. I have got some underlighting which looks lovely at night coming up, which was a product I bought off Amazon. If you want to buy them, I'll put the link below. And I've got these lovely little faces on the wall as well, which just give it that gothic feel. And at night time, occasionally you just see them glimpsing at you through the undergrowth. So there we go, a year-end update on the exotic tropical border, just for posterity really, because soon it will be gone. And that will be the end of 2023. I'll see you soon for some more exotic tropical garden adventures. Bye for now.